Hi, welcome to Suplex the Sticks, a gaming podcast, hosted by David and Seth.
Hi.
And Forrest.
Howdy.
Hello.
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 This is the podcast that everyone knows and everyone listens to every Thursday.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
There was no episode last week because I was on another podcast.
And I completely forgot, so I drove all the way here.
And I didn't forget, and I didn't drive here.
Even though I said earlier in the day that
You absolutely
I
did.
was going to be on that show.
And I even remember being very excited for it. I'm like, heck yeah, I can't wait for it.
I talked about the Batman on my friend Cameron's podcast, The Big Room. They talk about movies. And I like movies, and so...
The name like that,
Batman.
you'd think it'd be about rooms.
Maybe.
Interior design.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes
How to
it's.
make your rooms as big as possible.
Depending on the film,
Like a feng shui podcast.
they do like every once in a while Cameron will get worked up about a set issue. Like during The Departed, I guess Robert De Niro says, "I'll get you a glass of ice water," and he just brings out a normal glass of water. And Cameron was like,
It's not really set design. That's just
Well,
kind
yeah,
of
but, like-
continuity errors.
right, but like if there's stuff like that in the,
Although maybe it was ice that he melted into water.
it could have been
Ah.
off screen and we just don't know.
Yeah.
He
It
could.
would be ice water.
How cold did the cup look is the question.
No, it didn't look that cold. I've seen that movie a lot. It's
see.
just a normal glass of water.
Wow.
There's no condensation or nothing.
Then I don't think it
But
was
maybe-
ice turned into water then. Unless if it's been
Maybe
sitting
the
there for
room
hours.
is really cold.
That's also possible.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we're talking about the Batman. That movie's great. Everyone should watch it.
Love it.
Great movie.
Watch the movie and then go watch the Big Room podcast episode on it.
Yeah. I'm really glad that our podcast is not video. It takes so much work. You guys have no clue. Between like scene cutting and like Cameron's like active producing, and you also have to worry about how you look on video. And yeah.
Those fools.
No, listen.
It works for them.
You know how we start? Let's talk about like how we started a podcast where like you were coming through a computer speaker into the microphone,
Right?
And, like really rough. Cameron did the opposite and spent like $1,000 on equipment, and went full deep end of the pool.
Full
Which
producer
is,
into it.
yeah. I mean, I think it's great. It's interesting.
Should get him to produce our podcast.
Yeah.
Listen,
How-
he's got a mixing board and everything. It's crazy.
I have a question for that process. How do you guys hear Carl? Like
Headphones?
You
We all have
okay,
headphones
gotcha.
on.
That's what I was gonna ask, or lead into.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I thought that was more like a how do you hear him? Like
He just talks so quietly.
more like how do you stand him?
No.
No.
Carl's a sweet, precious
Yeah.
angel. That is confusing how he exists. He is one of the last
Much like
people on
Cloud.
this earth, I think, that plays Overwatch.
One of my friends
now
also.
all the characters are free, so
He's
Oh.
the other day I was recommended a game to him, and he said maybe once I beat Overwatch.
Yeah, I saw that
And I-
message and I'm like, what?
he's still waiting for the single player.
Yeah, he's
campaign.
still waiting for the single player campaign. He always says he thinks he's
funny.
getting there, and I'm like, all right,
It's like,
bud.
yeah, whatever you say.
He plays Overwatch as much as Forrest plays Halo, which
Wow.
is astounding.
At least one night a week.
So, but yeah,
That's too
gaming.
much Overwatch.
It is. That game is dead.
Yeah.
Slash dying, but mostly dead.
Probably makes it easier to beat,
Yeah.
whatever that means.
You know,
Maybe
it's
beating
just
Overwatch as being the
It's
last
just a
person
really
playing.
big.
player.
It's a really big real life battle royale, and the last person playing it is the.
Is the one who beats
winner,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's Carl's goal.
They legally become the owner of Blizzard.
Wow.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I have, since the last time we talked, I think I was at 10 hours, and I have since dumped 55 hours into. I'm close to 70. close to 70 hours of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And I have made substantial progress. I am in chapter 11, and I am in Nibelheim. I always feel like I'm saying that.
Nibelheim.
Yeah, I always feel like I'm saying it wrong.
Well, you are.
So far, that region has had the best chocobo. That's my opinion.
Yes, the water shooting chocobo.
Yeah, the one that shoots water out of its butt.
You can float around. I don't think it shoots water. I think it creates like a funnel, like a vacuum.
Yeah, it's weird, but it is at their butt.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
weird.
that's where I'm getting weirded out by this.
I mean, it doesn't come in contact with them.
No, it's just near enough. It's weird.
Because they can also do it not on the water.
Yeah, on the ground.
It's just like a little tiny tornado below them.
Listen, I agree. I'm loving this game. It's very good. After a long session the other day with Seth, I learned that I may
Forrest. So, off mic, David has been giving Forrest a lot of flack for his ability to play the game. And so, Forrest, I have to ask you, did you know that if you use a weapon long enough, you permanently learn the skill associated with that weapon?
Yes.
Okay, well, David didn't learn that until like earlier this week.
I think I learned that
It was
less than 5 hours into the
game.
game, and also it was in the last game, yes.
I still got where I'm at handily and winning.
Also,
So
do you like equip materia onto your characters?
Yeah.
So do
And
I.
whenever
I
they
don't
get
know.
maxed out, I switch them out.
No. Hold on. You are.
There, when I was
I'm
here
trying
the
to
other
grow my
day,
materia, bro.
there were characters with empty materia slots that
Yeah,
you were
but
just
they
running around fighting people.
Yeah, but they had the materia I wanted on them. They like just because I didn't have them like.
Listen, I'll put on the ones that I want.
Okay,
if I
but
know, like, a big
tell them what
thing's
happened
coming out.
after I was like, hey, you should learn all of your character's weapon abilities and also.
I
and
destroyed the summons on my first try.
These
It was-
things that you were having such a hard time with. After I said, hey, maybe you should focus on using these actual.
But I
systems.
haven't I've had no other issues in the game really. The combat never presented a giant issue to me until I tried to do the extra stuff that scaled with me and got bigger, like the summon fights. Which it does confuse me that Chadley has a voice line about now you can fight them, or now they're powered up to the most, but you don't have them. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course I can't imagine fighting them at anything more than their weakest because they're really hard at even at their weakest.
Even at their weakest, some of them.
Some of them, for sure. I'm really excited to fight the summons I have left to get them, because I've really enjoyed those fights since I maxed out the characters. I do wish there was a little bit of a differentiation between weapon abilities and the generic non-MP magic you can use. That's been my biggest frustration. It really crowds that menu.
Yeah, it's a bit too much to be in one thing.
I almost would have rather those become the base level spells in your spells section.
Yeah,
and then you
but
move
they're
it up.
weaker.
And then it just
Yeah, they're
much
weaker.
Yeah, because
than
they don't
regular
spend
spells.
MP.
So it would just say MP0 and it would say
Yeah,
the
I
generic.
guess it would make
I'm
more
with you
sense
on
to
that.
It
put
wouldn't even
those
be called
in the
fire. It
MP
would just
slots,
be
yeah.
where fire would go. But that's
That would have maybe taken out some clutter because that abilities menu can be really long.
It is
especially
real, for
if
all
you
of them.
if you equip the enemy skill materia, all of those go into abilities.
Yeah, that's too much.
And there's even more abilities that you can learn in the folio system later on. It's just it becomes a lot to navigate through. But that is the beauty of having the shortcuts thing. If there are a bunch that you use frequently, you can just put them into battle shortcuts.
Yeah. And then those are what are used when you do the auto ability.
No. Those are. But so when you're controlling, so I had like the Cloud's thrust ability. It had a shortcut to the triangle button. So whenever I would use the shortcut, I could just immediately do that battle without having to go into the menu.
Yeah. Right.
Which is useful.
I've actually really started enjoying my menu time in battles.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, it gives me a second to look at everyone. Like, oh, everyone has at least one ATB bar. And I just go through and spend like a solid 15 seconds of just
I also
deciding.
feel the same. I have a distinct memory of in Remake trying to stay out of the menu time as much as I could. So I definitely made use of the shortcuts in that game. I think probably there are fewer abilities that you can tie to shortcuts, and fewer characters, and then this one I do think that even a lot of times even for basic abilities I'll bring up the menu just to have that slowing down of all the action to make sure that I am doing what I want to do.
Yeah,
I think this game also fleshes out each character way more to the level that Cloud was in the first one.
Oh yeah, I could agree on that.
To where
maybe combat-wise,
yeah, to the point where they're all like a fully playable main character. To better and worse degrees, I almost don't think that's necessary, and it all makes me feel like I'm missing a lot of stuff by not switching them out more.
Well, you are
right, but I do like to play with the three that I have.
Sure. I get that.
I do switch between Red and Tifa sometimes. But those are the main two.
I find that the even at just a utility level, I found myself switching a lot when I would have characters get low on HP and MP and not want to use items on them. And so
I never feel like I'm far enough away from like a chocobo stop or something.
I guess so.
Like
but if I was doing something and like if I was in a prolonged story section,
right,
I would just switch. But I also think that the other characters are fun enough to use that I found myself wanting to spend equal time.
Besides Aerith, who's the dirt worst.
Yeah, I do not like playing.
I mean, I would still even make sure to use her a lot because she's the best healer, and the strongest magic user, and so. But
according to you,
she's just
my boy Barrett is.
He's not.
Is he's a backline mage that is killing it for me.
It's absurd that you have turned Barrett into this.
It's great, and he does great at it. And
I guess so.
I don't think
of the three characters you use, yeah, I guess he's probably the best at it. When the other two are like, one is the main character that you use most of the time, and the other one is like the strongest physical attacker in the game. Yeah, out of those three, you'd probably want Barrett to be your mage.
Yeah.
And
to be fair, he does a good job at it.
They all do a good job at it, but some of them are specifically suited to do it. And Aerith is one of those characters.
I just think I texted you earlier this week that I finally understand Aerith, but that does not make her fun to play as. And I hold true to that. I understand what they were going for, but 0% of playing as her is fun, or having her on the field.
It's like
because she just dies.
It's like V in Devil May Cry 5.
Anyone breathes on her, and she just collapses to the ground, and it becomes an item suck.
I mean, she's hard to play as. I find her the hardest to play as because of her low defense and because the computer has the ability to instantly target whoever you as the player are.
That has been an issue of
which is very annoying when they will be engaging you as Cloud and then you switch over to someone
and
it's like what this but apart from that, I feel like the characters in general do a much better job of guarding and dodging attacks when they are computer controlled than you do. And I think Aerith specifically, if you put her with bigger damage dealers, they won't be like going after her a lot. But yeah, it is an issue that she can die pretty easily.
She just gets breathed on and dies for me. Like, and I've tried.
But she's got some great skills to help parties and
Yeah, I agree.
battles.
I just don't know if it's worth it
Yeah.
to not have Barrett out there as a tank mage, which is
I mean, I don't know that that's worth it. When there are other characters who are better at
it's
it,
great.
and it's also like not maximizing Barrett's skills.
He's a great tank mage, and that is a class
I guess so.
in things.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I don't know if it's a class in this game.
It is. I'm using it. I've done a great job. He's optimized.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
He he's great. He staggers if there's a weakness and it is attainable, and I hit with a main spell, it is on point. I would actually like to see.
You can do that with any character.
I know, but I would like to see, because you're arguing that Aerith is the main, because of the items and stuff I have on him and the weapons I'm using, if his stats are really that far below hers.
They are.
I don't know.
I mean,
I would like to
I
look
don't
it
know
up.
if it's with the items that you have in your possession, but especially
Base stats, sure, but I'm saying item wise, if I'm beefing him up to try to be a mage.
But
type
any of those
person.
things that you could beef him up with, you could beef her up with.
Yeah,
even-
but she don't
even
have the
more.
defense. I don't want that. She don't have the defense.
Or the damage output.
I mean,
Barrett can take a hit.
with
Straight
spells
up.
she does.
Yeah, but Barrett can take a hit.
Yeah.
Now
And he's got the steel skin ability. He's literally meant for this.
He is not meant to be a mage. I don't care what any of you say. He's not meant to be a mage. There is a literal mage.
Bro
in
is
the
a battle
party.
mage.
I
He's not a
think.
battle mage.
He
He's
battles
got a gun
as
for
a
an
mage.
arm.
Yeah, that's the battle part. I don't know what you. And the gun can shoot spells. That's
No,
the mage part.
He's not
shoots
over in
bullets.
the corner spinning a baton like he's in the color guard in high school. Come on.
He shoots bullets.
Yeah, and he does
Bullets
a great
are,
job
and they're
at
not
it.
magic bullets. They're just bullets.
Nah,
Listen, they
he's-
stagger enemies pretty nicely.
Yeah, I agree. But they're not magic.
Listen,
That's
I
why
just
I use
think
spells.
Yeah, or
That's
whatever.
where it's magic.
I'm gonna do research eventually and see how right I am.
I will find the research
What's the
that
most
says I'm
optimal
right.
party setup?
And I'm just saying.
I mean, pretty much all the optimal party setups say they have Yuffie in it.
Yeah, I was about to
And,
say, wouldn't that be funny?
And David refuses to use Yuffie.
Yeah.
So.
GameFAQs.com.
What if the optimal setup
Who's
is
a good
Aerith
magic
and Yuffie?
caster other than Aerith? Barrett, hands down.
Hands?
Hands
They've been put down.
Just saying. I'm not the only person out here that.
I'm not saying that you are. I'm just saying that.
And also,
Hold on, is this for 7 Rebirth or
It's
the
for
original?
Rebirth.
Okay.
and also, I want to note that Barrett somehow,
Has returned.
as large as he is, seemingly infinitely faster than Aerith possibly could
Yes,
be.
that too.
does
She
move.
feels
She
she
moves
is
so-
moving
she
through
moves-
molasses,
oh,
dude.
Lord.
It's the worst. I
terrible.
get she doesn't have any combat training, but by God,
Here's the
girl,
thing
just
about Barrett
run
as
a little
mage.
harder.
He has way less
best ability.
MP than
Oh,
everyone
okay.
else.
Well,
Not the
And-
way I got him
And
set up.
when you are using high level spells, it's gonna take a whole lot more.
I got that good MP up on him, and it's okay.
I'm sure that's fine, but you're not using re-raise all the time, which costs 35 MP to use.
That's
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. that-
ethers exist for a reason.
I agree. The game is set up that you can pretty much use anyone for any
anything.
role.
Yeah,
And it's great.
that is the truth. Is that you can do anything.
But we can all agree that certain characters are better at certain things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can agree.
They're
on
proficient.
that. And not excelling. And I think that Barrett excels. I think that, I did not know. I played the tutorial for each character. Not sure how much. I genuinely have been so fervored on wanting the story and the lore that I did just push past a lot of the character action tutorial stuff and leaned on my memory from the first game.
Yeah.
Which is why I did like miss some of that stuff. So like I had a bummed out feeling the other day when I was playing, and I'm like, because I'm like 50 hours in at the other day, and I'm like, man, I do wish that like the first 30 hours I did have these characters like optimized and everything. But it's fine because I still did I got the story. That's what I was really wanting. I think the combat system is super fun, but like I'm not coming to the game for the combat system. It's part of it, but that's not like the main driver.
Yeah, you're coming to the game for the quest where you follow dogs around.
Yes.
And a fun dog song plays.
Yeah, I do like the fun dog song.
Is that like the Silent Hill 2 dog ending song?
Oh, man. No, we have to get tickets to that concert because they have to play the dog song at that concert.
I don't know what they're going to do at that concert because it's got to be like a 40-hour long soundtrack.
They remixed...
The previous one was dang long.
Yeah, I have it on my phone. Let me look it up. Because there's definitely more songs in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And remixed versions of songs.
Yeah. Remixed and reused.
And I swear that they do...
It's actually only 8 hours.
I was going to bring this
remake soundtrack is 8 hours and 34
I remember
minutes.
one day at work I put it on right when I got in for my shift, and my shift ended like 4 songs before the end of the soundtrack. It's a very long one. Very good.
It's very long.
I'm curious if some of the music changes based on your relationships with characters at certain points in the game.
Ooh.
Depends on what.
Because like I feel like there's times where I've been just walking around a town and like a remixed version of like Tifa's theme is kind of playing.
It could be. I mean, that definitely happens in the Gold Saucer when you're on dates.
Nice.
There's a little like interlude of the Gold Saucer theme with whatever the character's theme is playing over the top of it. But I don't know. I don't really remember encountering the character themes in the wild outside of that.
I feel like my date is going to be with Aerith. I feel like it's
happening. It's a very wholesome date.
I just feel it. I haven't really tried to steer it any certain way, and I have been talking to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But
I feel like the game automatically, like if you try not to steer it anyway, I think Aerith gets the priority. Like I noticed that early on, where I felt like there were a lot of situations that were happening.
I think I've made some choices the game didn't want with talking to Tifa that has made the Aerith portions. I think I'm higher with Era.
I am not sure what the game is pushing. Having finished the game, there is some stuff at the end, some Cloud Aerith stuff. Because I think for a good portion in the middle, the game is kind of pushing Cloud and Tifa together.
Rightfully so.
And there is some stuff at the beginning and the end of the game that are sort of Cloud and Aerith moments. So I don't really know.
I kind of don't. This game has made me much more split on the Tifa and Aerith thing.
It's
That's
interesting.
Fair.
So when I played Final Fantasy VII, the original, I was like, we're going Tifa and Cloud. I think I did that because I knew beforehand that Aerith gets killed. I was like, I don't want to invest stuff, even though there isn't really a whole lot of relationship mechanics in that one outside of the Gold Saucer date. But I still wanted to make sure I had the Gold Saucer date with Tifa or Barrett.
Yes, sir.
Very hard to get, and very hard to get the Barrett date in the original. And I remember it going into remake with that like headcanon, and then like, but Aerith is just so incredibly wonderful and likable. There's like
so plucky.
I just love.
I also think her voice acting is kind of better, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think whoever.
I remember you not liking it too much in the last game.
I think that the voice actress for Tifa does a good job, but I think that they are given distinctly different roles, like in relation to what's happening in the story and in relation to Cloud. That they're just asked to do different things, and I think it is sort of to Aerith's benefit, not really to Tifa's detriment. But when it comes to you as the player character, like gravitating to one character, I think that Aerith is in the first one is definitely the more kind of magnetic personality.
Yeah.
And so yeah, coming into this, I was like, I don't know what I want to do, because there actually is a sort of relationship, a rough one in this one, because a lot of the story beats I think play out the same, which I think is interesting, especially like in the Gold Saucer date and beyond. It becomes kind of confusing depending on who, like, what your relationships are with certain characters, because there are static scenes that you would think would need to change based on what your version of the story has been, but because they're specific cutscenes that have characters interacting with other characters in set ways, it's like, this is sort of strange based on what just happened, but okay.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting. And it's not really resolved at the end either. It's sort of, you're still not sure what the game wants to happen, and maybe the game doesn't want anything to happen, because you can also go on a date with Yuffie. You can also go,
which I think I'd rather fall on my own sword. I think I would.
The Yuffie date is also cute because it's not really romantic.
Well, yeah, of course not.
I would hope not.
And it is, because of that, it's entertaining and funny. It's one of the few moments that I think Yuffie is genuinely entertaining in the game.
What I would love to ask and figure out from the creators of the game, why the writing changed so hard on her the moment she joined the group, because she was not like this in the intermission.
Yeah,
she
I don't
was
really
a
remember.
Normal person in intermission.
I think she was a bit extra in intermission,
right?
But
But she wasn't this.
Yeah, it's probably has to do something with, like, where does that version of the character fit in the group dynamic, and it kind of just sort of fades into it. Like, she doesn't. If she's that character, she doesn't really offer anything genuinely different.
Right, but does she offer anything with what she's doing now?
I mean, she offers something different to everyone else.
Sure. Her whole persona is materia and motion sickness.
Get materia.
And be motion sick.
And I don't think those are problems, except for when, like, it's like she doesn't... It's like she's not existing within the framework of what is happening to everyone, and she's just sort of like, I'm not paying attention to any of this. I just want to find materia, and that's my problem. Because
I feel bad because Chris, friend of the show, Chris, has beaten Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Mm-hmm.
He beat it the other night.
Nice.
And he's like, should I bother with intermission? I know you hate Yuffie. Because he saw my rant the other day in Discord. And I'm like, hold on. I don't. That's actually more of my problem. Is that I liked Yuffie a lot in the DLC. And then they have, like, boiled her character down to 2 character traits from someone that was dynamic and had, at least from my memory of the DLC, a range of motions and a few layers, which is why I thought the DLC was great. You go back or listen to our spoiler cast, where it was like, oh, they took this character that was one note in the original game, made no note even, and made her a character.
I think there could be an argument that her characterization could be as a result of kind of the horrors that she experienced in intermission.
Sure. Yeah, she did experience the horrors.
Yes.
The horrors.
The horrors.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. I think by the end, I guess she does seem to have come to understand what the gravity of the situation that they're in is, which I think.
So next game she'll be a good character
I think
again.
she'll be like an actual person next game. Presumably.
Well, that's good. She like hasn't even like brushed on, because like even if she's being coy, she hasn't even like hinted too much at like Sonon or
the deep ground stuff,
or like you can't have us. So part of my issue is you play through this DLC with her, right? Mm-hmm. And like then she joins this group of people, and they here that okay. That's my other thing. Because in the trailers, Kate Sith joins your party. Kate Sith joins your party. You get a solid 20 minutes of gameplay where they're grilling him about his background and what led him to this point. We did not get any of that with Yuffie.
It's definitely a weird introduction.
They just were like, you're cool, I guess. You're with us now.
Well, I don't think it was kind of the opposite. I don't think they
No,
liked
they didn't
her.
like her. No, they don't like her.
And they kind of just allowed her to come with them because she was following them anyways. I don't know. I think they're with her. It's different with Kate Sith because they know explicitly that he is a Shinra employee.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so there is going to be an instant distrust. They know that Yuffie is, by her nature, anti-Shinra because she is literally like a special forces unit from an opposing nation to Shinra. So I think
that is personality point B, is anti-Shinra.
Yes.
Like, you think like a letterhead of like an outline. It is materia, B, Wutai, and then to...
I think that, but I don't know. Some of the stuff doesn't bother me all that much about like the incongruities, but... And I was fine with it up to a point, and that was the point where I was in Cosmo Canyon, and you get the chocobo, and every time you get on the chocobo, she starts singing
the
chocobo song.
Yeah,
I can't.
The one endearing thing I think she does is the thing you hate. And it kills me.
Wow.
My least favorite thing in this game is that whenever you call a chocobo and get on it, it stops the background music of the world you're in and starts playing the chocobo theme.
That is
for
terrible.
An indefinite amount of time. Sometimes it's shorter.
Sometimes it's the whole time you're on the chocobo.
Yeah, in Nibelheim, it plays literally the whole song, and it drives me up a wall. And then, you compound that with, now we've got Yuffie singing the song, and I was just like, I cannot.
So I love this game. I want to be very clear that I love this game.
The second thing that I hate the most is Mai. And then after that is Yuffie. We got Chocobo song, Mai, and then Yuffie. Those are the top 3 hated things of this game.
The Chocobo song isn't even like fully like the original melody for like the Chocobo theme isn't.
They've made it, so don't worry. They've made it into a full song.
Well, but like this game's versions of the theme that I've heard so far don't have the full original melody. There's like a phrase missing from it, and it drives me insane.
Yeah, I think it's not until Nibelheim that they play the entire song.
God.
It's always just like an adapted version of phrase.
Which is
all right. I'm with you on
fine.
This, then. On that sucks.
Yeah,
the first
thing in the
game, Final Fantasy VII Remake, did that. So that does slightly go to like my other issue, is that occasionally in the first game there would be fun nods to the original game. Like I think Barrett really only did the ending battle thing once. Like,
yeah, I only heard it once in this game.
Yeah,
you only heard it once in this game.
Yeah, I've only heard it once.
I only heard him do it one time.
Maybe because I have him in my party all the time.
You have a lot more opportunities,
but I hear it all the time. And then Cloud.
There's another character that does it. It might be Kate Sith.
It is Kate Sith.
Cloud. And it's funny when he does it because
Yeah.
he's got his Scottish brogue or whatever.
Now the other thing is that Cloud's sword twirl. I think he only did that once in Remake, and it was after you beat the Hell House.
Yeah.
Cloud does the sword twirl in this.
He does it at every opportunity he gets.
Every chance he gets, he does the sword
It's not
twirl.
like it's not after every battle, but after every like cutscene, every battle that ends in a cutscene, he's doing it. Which I was fine with because that was one of the things that Final Fantasy VII has such a good after battle theme,
right?
And it's just like
But you don't really get that ever in this game.
You do. You get them after like mini games and stuff. There are a bunch of unique renditions of it. And so I think that was one thing I was glad to see more of was like the end of battle poses. Because they were like kind of an iconic thing from the original battles because you saw them so often. And just Cloud swinging the sword and then putting it behind him is just like this is one of the things you think of when you think of Cloud.
Yeah.
But it is funny how it was in the game very infrequently in the first one, and it is in the game a lot more. Which it's kind of you wonder what what meeting was that in that they decided to do that, and you wonder what the reasoning why. And maybe it was just we didn't have it at all in the last one. This is what he does a lot, so we should do it.
So, what is the worst mini game, and why is it Gizmos and Gears? Or it's called.
Gears. It's called
Gears and Go Nuts.
No, one of them is Gambits. Might be Gears and Gambits.
Gears and Gambits.
It's in Cosmo Canyon.
That sounds horrible.
I don't think it was that bad.
It's the dirt worst. I had to look up a guide.
Really?
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
I did
dumb,
every one of them first try.
Yeah, good.
Maybe after our experience playing Fusion Frenzy earlier, we'll improve your abilities at mini games in 7 Rebirth.
I mean, I've done excellent at all of them except for that one. Excellent. Like, I nailed the frog one first try. You hear everyone talking about how hard the frog one is, and I nailed that sucker first try.
I nailed the hard modes on the first try, which was weird. I had a tough time with that first one. I was like, I don't understand what I am doing wrong here.
I have pretty much nailed all the mini games first try except for Gears and Gambits and the Toy Story Mania one and Costa del Sol, like the shooting one with the targets. And that's just because I figured it out. I just was shooting too much. And it's actually better if you're slow.
The second version of it is based on accuracy.
No, even in the first one, it's almost better if you're slow, because then you're more accurate. Because I learned that the hit registering was having a hard time with how fast you move.
I don't have that issue.
So slowing down was better for me there.
I didn't think Gears and Gambits is too bad. It's not a mini game, but the stupid chicken thing is definitely the worst thing in the game.
Chicken thing.
Where you're leading the chickens back to their owner.
The best one is the Moogles, baby. I've nailed those things almost first try every time.
God, I hate them just because I know that I have to talk to the stupid Moogles.
Yeah, the Moogles. I talked last week about how much I love them. I almost want them tattooed on me. I love them. I love those little suckers. And you know what? The payoff. I'm not going to spoil it. The payoff to that mini game is one of the best things I've ever seen in a video game, and
it was cute for
completely worth the money. I was overcome with the payoff.
I would not say it was the best mini game though.
I loved it.
I mean, it was fun.
I haven't played is there other? I would like to play a game with that in it.
With
where that's the game.
The Moogle game?
Yeah, I like that. Like that each of them have a different attack and you have to like corral them. I think that would be a fun like little arcade experience or something.
I guess so.
I don't know. I really liked it. Unlock a super hard mode of that and I'll do it. And because I just had a good time with it and it ended too soon. And you can't replay those, I don't think.
Yeah, you can.
So, good. I might go do that.
There's a Moogle right next to the shopkeeper that you can talk to him and you can play it again.
Good.
Nice.
To win more Moogle medals.
Oh, yeah.
Which, you don't really need them. I think I ended up with like hundreds of extras.
I have a lot. It
gives you way more. In Remake, Moogle medals were hard to come by,
Yeah,
and
rare things.
And there was like an exact amount for what the rewards were. And this one is like, all right, I'll throw them at you. And then when you unlock the Moogle house, there's the Mog house. Sorry, there's one thing that you really need to buy, and then
Is that like a trap house?
yeah. I mean, you trap all the Moogles.
You do.
And then they mog
Yeah.
all over the place.
If only you could slaughter them. Not have to deal with them. See them ever again.
I don't like this. This is making me upset. I think they're great.
cute enough little guys.
And they're super cute.
They're hideous. Even Kate Sith's Moogle is better looking. And it looks nothing like a Moogle.
That's because it is a corporately created Moogle. It is perfectly designed to be marketable to you, Seth, and you're falling hook, line, and sinker.
It is a doll. Hey, look, I won't say that I can't fall for Shinra's propaganda. That dog song is literal Shinra propaganda.
It is.
Oh, crap.
Where it's talking about how Stamp and Shinra have pure hearts.
That's funny.
It's very funny. Oh, Shinra. Shinra's weird in this game.
Both Rufus and the company.
Yeah. Have you guys... do you think that characters have weird faces in this game?
Yeah.
No.
Because I feel like Cloud's face model is like just different enough to what it was in Remake that it's sort of... There's something inscrutable about it that just makes it feel sort of off to me.
I mean, the only thing I could think of is just like the graphical fidelity on these character models is extreme.
It is extreme.
Like every major character has multiple, like so many pores.
Yeah.
You could see them.
Yeah.
You could see inside of their
It's
faces.
wild.
But it also has the thing that Final Fantasy VII Remake had, where other textures are like really blocky and weird.
Oh, yeah.
But yet some of them are super perfect, and I do love that dichotomy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they put the time in where it was important. They
And
knew
it's
there were going to
Cloud's
be a
face.
lot of close-ups on faces.
Yeah. And people being hot for these characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of really great Cloud being uncomfortably horny, uncomfortable with the idea of horniness.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's ever horny.
Yeah.
No, he's not. He can't be. He's too pure.
I think
I
the
don't know if that's the
Mako
reason.
poisoned his...
Yeah, but
His
that
drive.
might be it. Because, like, Zack was definitely horny, and he was pure.
Yeah, that's true. That is like a Venn diagram.
Yeah.
He's horny and pure. Cloud is just pure, can't be horny.
Yeah.
And
And Sephiroth is just horny.
he is just horny.
For all the wrong things.
All the wrong things.
Not the kink shame, but
Yeah,
that
but
guy needs
by
to
God.
get it under control.
I missed the last game where he would just be in Cloud's ear going, gay, gay.
He doesn't really call you a puppy in this one that much.
Well, he does.
From
He
the
does in the
flashback.
beginning.
He does in the beginning, but other than that,
Ugh,
Such a puppy.
weirdo.
I wanted more of
Really.
that. Does that mean he called... Well, never mind.
Just we talked about this last time. Man, it's really kind of a bummer how nice of a guy Sephiroth was to the absolute freaky monster he becomes. And,
Yeah.
I'm saying monster not in like scary monster, just like so
Like,
far from a
he's-
human person.
Yeah.
It's just like, God, you are such a weirdo.
He is now a creature masquerading as a human being.
yeah, it's difficult. It sucks, and it's almost a change that happens like overnight.
Yeah.
In the
I'm tired of Sephiroth telling me not to trust people.
nah, man, that's you're not even at the end of that.
I know.
You're not even at the end of
I
it.
know.
You can't even trust me, Cloud.
That was obvious. That much is obvious. If only he would understand. Yeah, there's some. I feel like there's some incongruities with character motivations in this game versus what we left off in with Remake that we will have to wait to discuss until both of you finish the game. But it's yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to talk about it a whole lot. I have not wanted to play the game since I finished it. If that gives either of you an idea of my kind of mindset about the game after finishing it.
Well, you also did pump like 120 hours into it, plus.
Yeah,
so
but,
like you covered the ground,
right? But I'm not just saying that like there was still stuff that I didn't do that I wanted to have finished, and I've just been like, I don't want to play this anymore. So I don't know. We'll talk about it in the future. It becomes quite strange at the end, in terms of what is happening. What are these characters doing? What was the purpose of doing all of this stuff? And then there's a very strange ending, and
it'll fuel us for the next 5 years.
Maybe.
I don't think it'll be 5 years. I think we'll get the next one in 2 to 3.
I think it'll have to be a shorter development time because all of the...
I think it'll be 3.
All of the places that they go after the end of this game are already in the game pretty much. They'll change, certainly, and they'll add... There's a few more places that they'll have to add. Like space.
The Final Frontier.
Briefly, they do briefly go to space. I remember playing the original and being mad that after that I realized that I missed out on whatever Bahamut it was that you get when going to space. I think it was Bahamut Zero that I did not get because he's missable. So there you go.
All right. And the other game we all played...
Oh, wait. First of all, I got to talk about Forrest. What happened when you went on the boat and were forced to play Queen's Blood?
What do you think happened?
I want to know. I don't know. I imagine that you probably just went the whole thing.
So originally... So you had to sign up for the tournament. And at first I groaned. I'm like, wow, I really have to do this. Yeah, and then I co-signed myself. I'm like, okay, well, I guess since I have to do this, I guess I'll give it a go. So I signed up, and then immediately it says, okay, there's this thing over here. You can go talk to this person to get more cards and stuff, build up your deck. Mm-hmm. And then this person to the right, you could just forfeit at. And I went, no way. So I did that.
Oh, what a shame.
But I made a separate save. Shame. I made a split save there to go back to, because I do actually kind of would like to try through the tournament.
That's not even close to the story that's attached to Queen's Blood, though, which is insane.
Yeah. I wish that David had unlocked the Crow's Nest that time that we were all sitting in watching him play, because I really wanted you to see that cutscene that David was about to see from playing the Queen's Blood storyline, because it's got some crazy stuff in it.
It's awesome.
Well, okay, so I skip the main chunk of the tournament, but then it gets to this next cutscene, and Red 13 comes out in a Shinra uniform.
That's unfair. No, people that don't do the tournament should not get that.
Yeah, I agree.
That's garbage.
So yeah, I had to fight him. But I will say though,
you still got to play him?
Yeah, you have to fight Red 13. And I will say,
that's funny.
I kind of like the experience.
Yeah. I was hoping that you would have done it and been like, oh, I understand this now.
I think I get the basics, and the experience was good enough, which is why I'm happy I made that split save. So I will go back and do the tournament, and maybe even go back and do the whole Queen's Blood storyline.
No offense. I'm not mad at you. I don't think that players
it is
that
weird.
do not play the tournament should get that.
It is weird.
I agree.
It is kind of
a weird choice.
It's kind of a surprise reveal, because there's a whole big deal about how Red can't enter the tournament because he's a dog.
Yeah.
And then when he shows up later in a Shinra uniform and he's like, I can play now.
Well, no, especially if you've won throughout the whole tournament. The whole deal is that you've beat the best, and then they say there's a surprise challenger for the...
Well, they don't say that. He just shows up.
Yeah,
and then
but
the
it shows
announcer's like, looks like we have an extra battle happening.
Yeah. He doesn't even challenge Cloud. Well, at least not in the skipped version of it. He challenges that one Queen's Blood player.
Oh, the girl?
Yeah. Regina,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
And she's like, I'll face you if you can beat him.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. So you're
not as good of a moment.
Yeah, that is...
It's definitely more fun when you've won the whole tournament and then he shows
He comes
up.
out of nowhere.
What 3 characters did you play against?
I played against Barrett. And
I feel like he'd be bad at Queen's Blood.
Well, I beat him, so.
Clearly.
And then I played against what's his name? From the
Chadley?
Honeybee Inn.
Oh.
And then I played against Chadley.
I played against Tifa, Chadley, and Andrea.
Yeah, Andrea Rodea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wish they would have done a bit more.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping they'd be at the Gold Saucer.
Yeah, I really thought that with all of the trailers since the trailers showed all of the like the musical stuff, I had assumed that somehow Andrea Rodeo was going to be involved with that.
Because Cloud was in a dress in one of the trailers, I thought.
Not that I remember.
Like I thought he was, yeah, maybe I'm wrong. It's possible that I'm wrong. But I could have swore that there was...
Although Cloud does dance. There is a dance number that he does.
Yeah. I think I might have done that.
It's when you first enter the Gold Saucer.
Yeah, he does do that, and that is awesome.
Very strange. A very strange sequence.
No, it's
Everything
awesome.
that happens in the Gold Saucer is just like, what?
It's awesome.
Why?
The word is awesome.
Yeah.
It's all awesome.
Tifa gets turned into a Disney princess by magic.
It's
Not
awesome.
Tifa, Yuffie. Excuse me.
I could have done without that.
And then you get to keep her magic
uniform.
uniform. So
Yeah.
what the heck is happening? Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, great game. I'll have it done by next week. I'm like set on it. So
Set on it, set on it.
Ooh.
Set on it.
Man, that song is really good.
Yeah.
Bet on it is really good. Not set on it also probably is a good song.
It's the same song, but with just the word set instead of bet.
It does change it a little. So the other game we played was the classic Fusion Frenzy.
Do we have to talk about this? We literally played it for
I know.
half
We
an
should
hour.
talk about
I don't know.
We got the full experience.
Yeah.
I guess so. I won in my mind.
In your mind. I definitely
I got
won.
beat. I got beat by the broken game with bad, where I jumped up and lost all of my stuff.
It sounds like someone that's mad about Mario Party, but I still won.
Yeah. So we just need to find a party game that you'll be mad at.
Yeah, and then we'll have the trifecta.
That's impossible. I like party games, so I.
Here's the thing: the
We can
thing in
find
Mario Party that makes you mad at the end is a intended mechanic. In this game, where I pick up the collectibles that I'm trying to get to win, and then jump onto a platform, and then they're all gone from my hand.
We love jank.
I don't think that is a game mechanic.
I think it's a skill issue.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Your luck stat wasn't high enough.
That's true.
But yeah, I'm the Fusion Frenzy King.
In his own mind.
You should enter Fusion Frenzy
And
tournaments.
we had to talk about it because we talked about it in the last episode.
That's true.
Yeah.
They shoehorned it in there to force us to play.
I did force.
He did hold us at gunpoint.
I did download the game last Wednesday when y'all left, or the Wednesday before when you left. I set it to download and I went to bed. So
Another game I played is Mario Kart. Not Mario Kart, Mario Tennis, Game Boy Color. And would you like to hear a familiar story about what happened to me? What I realized happened? So it must have been Sunday when I came over and I was sitting on the couch playing the game. And at some point before I left, I saved it and I quit. And later when I went to open the game, I quick loaded like the save state that I had.
Yeah.
which I had been making after every time you save in that game. Well, not every time, but you can save and go to the menu, and so I would do that, and then I would create a save state. And so I loaded that save state, and I went to go do something. I was like, wait a minute. This is saying I didn't rank up when I know very specifically I did that. And it turns out that in this time, I saved and quit the game and didn't create a save state. Oh. And so when I loaded up the game from the save state, all that stuff I had done was gone. Which, thankfully, it's a Game Boy Color game. It wasn't a whole lot of time.
It doesn't take more than 20 minutes to probably get
it was
all
like
that back.
it was maybe like 45 minutes of stuff that I could... And I did end up doing that earlier today. Man. But what I noticed was, oh my god, I can't believe I've done this again.
It's a classic move of yours.
And it really was just... It was kind of just a disaster waiting to happen because of when I was doing the save state. Like, there was nothing based on the screenshot that could have tipped me off to the fact that it was in the wrong place.
So sad.
Save states are weird.
They're a blessing and a curse.
They are, yeah.
It's sort of why I always default to using the in-game save.
Well, see, here's the thing. I've done it playing games on, like, a computer using save states where I've loaded a save state and realized I accidentally deleted a bunch of progress. But I think the difference here is I loaded the save state and immediately went into like the saved game that was there. So it like automatically overrode everything that like would have been. Because normally you could just like reset a game, and as long as you haven't saved it, it would bring up the actual game memory. But instead, since I did it, I like overwrote the game memory with the It was dumb, and I had to laugh at it. But it did take me a few days before I decided to boot the game back up and redo all that stuff.
Mean, it's a little defeating.
It is.
Or you'll cry. You have to laugh or you'll cry.
Yeah, it was funny. I can admit it.
Yeah.
It will happen to me many times again in the future.
It will happen again.
This will not be the first time. It's just good that it was that game instead of, a 50-hour
Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Lord. Never beat that first one because of what happened at the end of that game. I was this close to getting the ultimate weapon. And then, poof, all my data gone.
Wow.
Because I didn't say... I don't remember what it is. I just remember all
the game crashed and you didn't save it.
The game crashed and I hadn't saved in a long time.
That is so sad.
It is sad.
It's funny, but sad.
So much progress lost. Anyone who's played Kingdom Hearts knows how much pain it is to get those items to make the ultimate weapon.
Yeah, because they're RNG.
So long.
Yeah.
A good 60% of the process is RNG.
Yeah.
Which is rough.
Yeah.
I remember trying for a little bit, and then I quit trying.
It's definitely easier with a guide of the specific things to do, but even then, it takes a long time. And that's why I've never beat Kingdom Hearts.
There you go.
Wow.
But you've beat the other ones.
Yeah, you're not missing out on much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
I don't know. I think if you watch a video, you're fine.
Oh, look, I know what happens.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to the fight with Xehanort on Destiny Island?
No, because he was in Bastion Hollow, I think.
Ansem, sorry. Oh, man, yeah, you didn't get to the good part of the ending section of the game then.
Probably not.
Dang. Sad.
It is sad. But
true.
I'll do a playthrough one day in like 20 years and get up to that point and then say, hey, Seth, come over. I've got the ultimate weapon and everything ready for you to go.
That's what I would need.
Which is not even really the ultimate weapon. It's the ultimate weapon is the Keyblade. The ultimate weapon is the Keyblade. Not ultimate weapon. That's not fair to call it.
What are you saying?
Well, yeah, I'm not following what...
Like
I think he's calling the concept of the Keyblade the ultimate weapon.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the Ultima
Or he's talking about the...
I'm talking about the capital T.
The
capital
Ultima.
X
Ultimate?
Greek X thing.
Yes,
the
that-
Keyblade.
The Kai Blade.
The
as
Keyblade.
it's sometimes
The ultimate
called.
weapon.
Excuse me, that is
As
the
it's
Keyblade.
sometimes called.
That is the Keyblade,
What was that from?
as it is called in the game.
Broke
It
my
is-
sleep when Sandor's monologuing about it. He goes, the Keyblade, or sometimes called the Kai Blade, or
then-
sometimes called
I'm
Kai.
so glad that whenever that game comes back, we won't have to hear about that anymore.
I'll be so sad.
Says
about
you. I don't know how that is gonna stay away, but the Keyblade's the ultimate weapon. They just
But I'm
didn't
not
know it
saying
back
I'm
then.
not saying
Blade.
ultimate weapon. I'm saying Ultima weapon.
I know,
The
but
weapon of the magic Ultima.
yeah, that's only 2 letters away from T.
Okay,
to
yeah,
ultimate.
but
Yeah.
there are also
But it
different
sounds
things in
cool.
Final Fantasy VII. Ultimate weapon is a giant monster that you have to fight, and Ultima
true.
weapon is a sword that Cloud holds.
Yeah.
I mean, you get it by defeating Ultimate Weapon.
Well,
That's neither here nor there.
yeah.
But you know. Man, sometimes I wish Kingdom Hearts had a ultimate weapon fight instead of just scavenging for stupid items for 12 hours.
Yeah, well, that'd be nice. But
Yeah.
it did.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
Yeah. Too little, too late.
A shame.
It was a byproduct of that generation
time.
of gaming.
Yeah.
And,
And they
Yeah.
kept it for
Although in the
every
previous
single one.
generation, you had fight with Ultimate Weapon. I got Ultimate Weapon. So
Yeah.
Who really came out on top
Who
here?
knows?
all this has made me want to go back and play Final Fantasy X, which is,
The other day you said you were going to go back and play Final Fantasy VII.
and I am going to. I'm going to play 7 after I'm done
Well,
with
first
this
you should
game.
play 8.
No, I've done enough of
I'd
that.
rather play 1 and 3 before
are
it.
so
1, 2, and 3, I think, before I try 8 again.
Like, if at the end of this game, somehow, like,
Squall shows up.
no, what's her name? Like, the teacher, like, whips.
Quistis.
Yeah,
Quistis.
somehow Quistis whips into scene
Hot
and
teacher.
fights Sephiroth at some, then whatever, I'll play 8. But that's not happening.
You guys don't
This
even-
isn't
don't
a
even- man, I wish I could just spoil the end.
the Final Fantasy fighting
and
game.
Describe to you how what they are choosing to do at the end of this game is exactly what happens at the end of Final Fantasy VIII. I wish I
Shut
could.
up.
I wish I could. Not exactly.
Okay, because
But
I was
they're-
about to say, like, I do know enough about 8.
But there is something very specific that Sephiroth is like, this is what I'm going to do. That is just like, it's not the same, but it's like, I've heard this before from one Sorceress Ultimisia.
No, listen, we all know that Nomura has his vices.
Yes,
and,
Yeah.
and-
that is true.
and one of them is world lines, and like, and we know him. He's our guy. Like,
Yeah. You know he's gonna have a blue ice cream popsicle.
yeah. I talked to everyone has their own freaky little game creator they love. Like, you think about
Some
like
people love Peter Molyneux.
some people love Yoko Taro.
Yeah.
Some people love Hideo Kojima. Like, everyone's got their guy.
they're
and-
they're Japanese
little
guys.
furry.
And mine is Tetsuya Nomura, and he always will be. And you know what I need to go play?
The bouncer.
The bouncer.
Bouncer.
Yes.
Because Jado Choa talks about it on Giant Bomb all the time.
I really want.
I gotta
those
find a
characters to
copy of
show
that
up in
game.
He plays
Kingdom
through
Hearts
it.
4.
Every year during their Child's Play,
What a
their
strange thing to
for
do.
like
That's a
he's played through
wonderful
it so many
thing.
times, and he swears that the
What's the
pink-haired
speedrunning
girl,
community for the bouncer?
he swears that
look
the
like?
pink-haired girl that
Really
plays
Pretty.
Queen's Blood
Pretty
is
bouncing.
an analog to one of the characters from The
Interesting.
Bouncer,
Could be.
and yeah,
So it's
he
required playing
He
now, that's
also
what I'm
says
hearing.
that he's at the point now where he sees the bouncer in everything. Like, that's,
Good. There's a bouncer inside each of us.
It's funny. I watched a video the other day about the history of the bouncer. That was originally like supposed to be a fighting game.
Yeah.
Like
He also plays the Quiet Man every year, which I
Oh,
bless him.
also interesting.
that's a unfortunate decision.
He's done it multiple times. Sometimes you just fall in love with something that's bad.
I get. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
It's true. We all have a bad game here or there.
Yeah. Seth loves Final Fantasy VIII, and I
That's a good game. but I
No,
also
that's a
love Watch
bad
Dogs.
game.
You also like Watch Dogs.
Continually find myself defending Aiden Pierce in my mind.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the trailer of that movie to drop. And
God.
Man, when we saw the Imaginary movie the other day, I read the news on Twitter and leaned over to David was like, did you read the Ubisoft announcer doing a Watch Dogs movie? And he had this ridiculous reaction, just like exasperated and bewildered.
because I can't believe it. They've quit making Watch Dogs to make the Star Wars game. So Watch Dogs.
That's okay.
Apparently, the girl who was the lead in the Talk to Me movie is going to be the lead.
Oh, Watch Dogs.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Talk to Me is a good movie.
That was a very good movie. She was good in it.
Shame what happened to her. But
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
good in it.
Reminds me of that one tragedy.
But that's a joke for like 3 people that that's good. Cameron's laughing, which is worth it. I'll have to tell him to listen to this timestamp.
Yeah, I've got a friend who doesn't care about video games, but he'll listen to this.
But yeah,
Final Fantasy VIII is good.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
okay, buddy.
Um,
And Halo Infinite is not a dying game.
These are not the same things. One of them has Doom Train and one does not.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
And one has gunblades. So really, Final Fantasy VIII is cooler than Halo Infinite.
This is true.
For sure.
Just based on Gunblades, Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VIII is
Alone.
cooler than a lot of games.
Dude,
Right, you're
when
not wrong.
When Gunblades came back for 13, or like, in the lead up to 13, I was like, man, this is going
Their
to be so
versions
cool.
of
And those
Gunblades.
versions are not as cool.
They're pretty cool.
They're
I
cool.
like Lightning a lot
But
as a
same.
character design.
Same, but that
Everything
Gunblade
else
of
I
hers
could do with
is
that.
not a just revolver handle with a sharp knife attached to it.
They're man,
Which is the coolest.
I kind of want to go back and play 13 because there was characters I like in that game.
Like Snow
Yeah,
and
Lightning, and the guy with
other
the
people
chocobo
with,
in his
with
hair.
weird nouns for names.
The guy with the chocobo in his hair. I liked him.
Any of the characters from that game.
Yeah, that game, and it's great because it's linear. So until it's not, and then that's when I quit.
No side
so,
quests. Just go down a hallway
I'll take it.
till the end.
The opposite of the game I'm playing now. Which at this point I'm nervous. Everyone, my fantasy critic is going to be through the roof. Maybe people are loving Dragon's Dogma too, and I feel like I need to play that game now.
Yeah.
And it's completely separate from the first one, so you can just play it.
Mm-hmm.
And
I would like to play it.
it looks
Same.
fun. Like I watched a weird video the other day of a guy using a lot of magic that looks scary and big. So who knows? I am going to play Final Fantasy VII next. Who knows the next time I'm going to touch my Xbox? Nothing's coming out on...
You could play Final Fantasy VII on it.
No, because I'm going to play it on my Switch. I already have it bought on the Switch, and I can play it on my lunch breaks
That's
and
how
stuff.
I played it.
Same.
And I'm not going to get anything more out of playing it on the TV versus on my Switch.
Not like it.
You should play the iOS version.
No.
You get less out of it.
Yeah. I did download Hades on my phone because if you have a Netflix subscription, you get Hades for free.
I would suggest that you play it on the mobile game, but it's only got like the very beginning of it, so.
Yeah, and I'm good. I tried. I really tried that mobile game,
Yeah.
and I couldn't do it.
I think I still have it installed.
It just kept asking me to install gigs and gigs and gigs of data.
Yeah,
It's
I haven't.
a lot- it's a
I
lot
have
of
not opened this
information.
thing up in 3-4 months.
It'll
It's a
explode your
shame
phone.
because I read an article the other day that was titled, "So when are we getting an actual Final Fantasy VII remake?" And the guy was saying, like, the remake project and Rebirth are all really good, but he wants to be able to actually play the original game. And the way the game looks in Ever Crisis is like pitch perfect what you would want, like a retro remaster
Yeah.
of that game to look. I remember just being kind of like astounded by how like well they recreated all of the set pieces in the
That
graphical
style.
fidelity that is capable. But it's tied to a mobile game with microtransactions and grinding and all that crap.
Yeah.
Will they ever learn? Probably not.
I don't know. At least there's no NFTs in it.
Not yet.
A rare Square Enix
Sephiroth tokens.
decision.
So,
Yeah.
he is a Bitcoin bro. Probably.
No, but I bet Rufus. No, I don't know. I think what's his name? Heidegger definitely invests in Bitcoin.
Yeah. That's good. All right. Well, there hasn't really been electric news out there. Like, it's been fine.
Yeah. Been small things here.
Been
and there.
acoustic news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the usual dire state of the industry with constant layoffs.
Yes. There was so there's a report about Bungie's marathon that
It's not good. Nothing at Bungie is good.
I had not heard this.
Well, so I think earlier in the week or last week, a report came out that the director of the game had been replaced. And it turned out the guy who's doing it has been there 9 months. Apparently, though, it has transitioned into a hero shooter, which is kind of
Not good.
a bummer to hear about.
On top of that, during the Jeff Grubb reported today on the Games Mess, which he does every day, but he reported that a insider at Bungie who works with the books has said, like, if Last Light doesn't sell a lot, like a lot, financially Bungie doesn't make sense to Sony right now. And so it's going to be really bad. Like, they're like, if Last Light doesn't sell a lot, like, it's going to... They've already canceled... They had a MOBA they were working on before they got bought by Sony that they have had to pause. They had
Probably better off.
another fighter that they had like 2 or 3 projects in the fire that they were working on that have all been shelved or canceled to try to make Last Light as good as possible to make sure the sales are high enough. And then
I understand why people in Bungie who have just been working on Destiny forever would want to make these other projects, but it definitely doesn't seem prudent to have had these other teams spending money to do this other stuff.
right, I don't disagree.
On this ever expanding project that seems to be floundering.
The other thing is that apparently it's, I guess it's not a, and these are all rumors, but like they're sourced pretty well. He said that I guess the vibe there right now is that the people in charge are basically waiting till 2026 and then they're just going to leave, because 2026 I guess is something in the contract where they'll be fully vested or whatever. Jesus. And then they'll just
that
bone
is
out.
a bummer.
That
I think was sort of
on the wall.
Yeah, but it was kind of always, not always, but they freed themselves from Activision and the kind of content model that Activision wanted them to do, which was the big expansions, twice every year, and they wanted to turn it into like an everyday game, which worked at the time, but has proved to be diminishing returns the longer it has gone on. And I think it's sort of been like the inevitable endpoint when they sort of transitioned into being the game that always has to have new stuff that you have to play all the time. It's like there's got to be an eventual endpoint to this, and that endpoint is when you've put all your money into the game and you have run out of money to spend on it and people who want to continue doing the same stuff over and over.
Yeah. Which you'd think would be a lesson to the industry about these types of games and the service models. But they think that This is the one way
double
to go.
down.
Yeah.
WB Games is
crash and
doubling
burn, I
down,
guess.
which is wild.
Yeah. Ultimately, like, those, like, the corporate side of things that are making those stupid decisions, crash and burn for all I care. But, like, it really does suck that people who have a genuine passion for developing and designing are caught up in this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's kind of across industries that the people who, I don't want to get into this.
I feel like we do this like once a month at least.
The people with like the ridiculous amounts of the investor class who just have money and want to use it to make more money. They sort of put money and take over things they don't fundamentally understand who they're for, what the appeal is, why these things work, and then when they, change that stuff and it doesn't work, they're like, well, this business is terrible. We have to shutter it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's exactly what has gone on at Bungie, because I think some of it was sort of their own doing.
So it was also Sony wanting to get into the live service area, and then realizing after Bungie audited all of their live service stuff, and then
it's now a dead service
area. Right now, it's not a.
I mean, that could be like why Bungie bought into. I mean, why Sony bought into Bungie, but like
it is,
Bungie went for a while completely independent from any publishers, and they sort of they've crafted the game to be what they wanted it to,
and they've been in this situation multiple times throughout their entire history as a studio. Before,
I do think they got out
the most precarious.
It is terrible, but like this, they sold it at. I don't know if they could have lasted on their own
another year,
like this, because like he said, the numbers for every subsequent like expansion / season pass has gotten low.
Yeah. Yes.
It's weird. Live service stuff. It's hard to beat Fortnite.
Yep.
Like it really is.
It is.
Everything else is just a
and I think that definitely has to do with why it has slowly begun to sink, is that it's basically only competitor in that space was Fortnite.
Yeah.
And Fortnite has just continued to be a cash cow.
And Destiny can't do what Fortnite did.
Right.
No.
Where Fortnite saw the users starting to dip, they did just OG map. They were like, this is the OG map. Yep. It's back. Their concurrence went way higher than they were before. And that crowd has left a little bit, but it stayed. Like they had a large amount of people stay and keep playing. And
it's too bad, because I think Destiny has, like, over the course, Destiny 2 especially has introduced new game modes and stuff.
Yeah.
In that sort of way to bring in more people, or bring back lapsed players, that, according to like articles and actual player testimony, have been really fun and engaging to do and different. But I think it's so wrapped up in it's become impenetrable to get into anything from the outside because of the way they have decided to make the story like happen week by week, and just constantly having changes that you have to continue playing every single day.
Even Kato on Remap is one of the biggest Destiny defenders, and
that's a good name.
They have been like very hands off with it.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, I can't do this anymore.
There's no way that they could do this, but what if a Destiny single player edition that you just like gave you the levels that you play through, and they would have to build kind of new stuff for the interstitial stuff that they've moved to.
It just would be such a short game.
I don't think it would. If you started from the beginning of Destiny to what they're up to now, they would.
Okay. So then that would be great. I'm talking like Destiny 1.
No,
like, that would be like an 8-hour game.
Yeah, for the first one it would be, but I think it would. It is sort of.
I think 8 hours is generous. But
it's sort of. But you could also throw in the multiplayer. I think a big problem is that they've also pivoted away from supporting like, and increasing the multiplayer stuff to do. Like, they've gone away from putting importance on having people in the arena shooting at each other to, people doing a lot. Like, I think it's been years since they've added new
The multiplayer
PvP
never made
maps.
sense to me for Destiny, but that's just because I would hate like playing against other people with better gear.
And so that's
Yeah.
one thing that I think you could do if you made a single player version of this game where you unlock guns via static ways, and they all have very specific like stats to them, like removed from power levels. I don't know.
Yeah.
They could never do it because it would be a huge undertaking. But it would be. It's fun to dream.
Yeah.
It's like my dream of Blizzard making a Warcraft 4 that is just all of the story stuff that happens in World of Warcraft.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be wild.
It'd be a huge game at this point, but it would be neat.
I was talking about this the other day, not to prolong the casual video game rambling, but I was talking to Joe because he's a WoW player, like he's on and off. But WoW, the biggest issue for them was this expansion called Cataclysm. Wrath of the Lich King was hyper popular. It brought
I remember that.
like everyone loved Wrath of the Lich King, and then they did Cataclysm, which changed everything about how the game played, like the zones of the game, all kinds of stuff that I can't begin to explain. But I know that it changed a lot because it hurt a lot of the fan base, and the fan base was like, we don't like this. It was kind of the start of people like, we don't want what you're doing with WoW. And now WoW Classic is at Cataclysm, which they started WoW Classic to give the people sort of like the OG Fortnite. And now they announced the other day, like, all right,
We're
up to
we're up to
again.
Cataclysm. And I'm like sitting there like, just let the game exist at Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah.
Just let it sit.
'Cause
These
that's where it
people are
peaked.
going to hate it. They're going to be mad. And they were like, no, we figured it out. And I'm like, I don't.
Did you?
Pretty soon we'll see WoW Classic.
Right. It's going to be like, we'll start you back at the very beginning. Again.
And
Classic
people would love
2.0.
it.
Yeah, people will love it. It's just so weird how like separated from reality a lot of the people making the business decisions are. That's one of them. Like just an example.
Yeah.
And I miss the old days of Destiny, but it's just not possible now.
I remember there was like a solid 2-week period years ago when I tried playing Destiny 2 with you. Like I started up the game and I didn't even have I was still running on a base model Xbox One, and I think you were on like at least the One X by that point. It took me like 3 minutes to load into the game. I could not understand a single thing visually, like on the menus. The UI was
that was a
horrible
bad time to
even
jump in.
Then,
Yeah.
like, I can't imagine.
I feel like it's always
It's
kind of
like
a bad
now.
time to jump in if you don't have a good idea of what's going on.
Yeah.
The best time to jump in was the beginning of Destiny 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
And boy howdy, did I enjoy my time in Destiny 1 for the most part.
Maybe the most fun I've ever had in a game was the beginning of Destiny 1.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So wild.
First
the
time-
Wild West.
First time doing Vault
It
of
was the
Glass
Wild
and
West.
stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff broken all over the place. The daggum loot cave. You just
Yeah.
go shoot into a
Yes.
cave to level
I
up and
spent
get legendary
so many
guns.
hours there.
Wild times.
Vault of Glass was so insane.
Kicking people out of your party if you don't have the Gallarhorn.
Yeah. Which I mean,
I
you could just
remember-
relive that in Helldivers
I
too
remember
now.
getting
Yeah.
the Gallarhorn was like
I think that's
The
the
greatest
only
day
legendary item I ever ended up actually getting.
I never
in that
got
game.
it. I never got it in the OG. That and
you
the
guys are-
legendary.
It's like the greatest gun that's
Yeah.
ever existed.
That
in
and
a
the
video game.
legendary like SMG that dropped in the raid, the Stormcaller. Like it was close, but I never got that one either.
Fun times. What was it, like 2015?
Oh, I think it was earlier because the
14,
Destiny they had
I
the
think.
no, I think it was earlier because they had the 10-year plan, and we're
We're right over 10 years.
I think it was 2002, maybe 2003. I would bet. I'm
What are you
looking
saying?
it up.
What are you talking about?
Destiny.
Destiny.
Test 2012. Sorry, my brain broke. September 2014.
He's been living in a different world for
Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. 2014, and then Destiny 2, I believe, was 2016. No, 2018. That almost doesn't seem real. But, yep. Video games.
Video games.
All right.
We all agree.
We agree. Video games. With that, we will talk at you next week. Email us. Join our Discord. All that stuff.
Write various forms of poetry about our gaming habits.
Yeah, that's
Send
a good
David
one.
a letter.
Via mail.
Yeah, letters. My address is out there. You'll find it. And with that, we will talk at you later. Bye.
Bye. See ya.